Hi, welcome to the award-winning Ed Brown Show. Oh, I tell you, boy, them gremlins, they everywhere, they all over the place. We had a young lady here, Tina Greenleaf. I mean, she's the Infinity Group. She's in business. That's what I tell you, boy, corporate business, and she's going to tell us a little bit about it, how the different programs are working, and a program that we in Prince George County need, in Montgomery County. Oh, Tina, tell us a little bit about this Infinity group, and what do you do, and how do you get started, and all of that.
Well, thank you, Ed. Thank you so much for having me today. Um, so, I'm an executive and personal development leadership coach and trainer. I got started through the John Maxwell Company.
John, I'm familiar with they're number one.
Yes,
Yes.
he's definitely the number one in leadership and
Right.
management. Phenomenal individual and mentor. Can't say enough good things about him. But I worked through his program, became a certified executive leadership coach and trainer, and going through that realized I could start my own business.
Sure, why not?
Exactly. Giving back to the community, helping make it a better place, not just living in the community, but being a part of it.
Giving back.
Exactly.
That's what it's all about.
It is. And a few fellow coaches are within the school system and work within Montgomery County, as I was telling you about earlier. And I had the great pleasure and opportunity to help do a workshop for 150 leaders within the
Oh.
high school system.
Great. That are in the high school system.
Yes, wonderful kids, really taking the initiative and the motivation to learn how to be a leader at such a young age so they can move forward and give back to their communities as well. Very inspiring in their own right. And we were able to go up, have a couple of hours of their time, teach them some leadership skills, and really make a difference with them and be a part of their SELP program as they move through that and develop their leadership skills.
You have skits and things like that that they actually participate in.
Yes, it's very interactive. We bring in some speakers, other individual coaches and trainers and things as well, so it wasn't just us. Very interactive with the kids, allowing them to discuss what they think leadership is, as well as how they can be leaders within their school, their families, their communities, and not just be passive participants and accept what's going on, to help them develop those critical thinking skills and to be a part of that community as an active member, regardless of their age.
Good. And speaking of age, what age bracket are you involved in?
Wow, good question. So I really work with anyone at any age. I participate in the high schools and the middle schools, different programs as well. My personal coaching clientele are, of course, adults, businessmen and women of varying ages and industries, all focused on trying to be positive, improve and develop themselves personally and professionally, and grow and help others.
Well, you get involved with other subjects, various subjects with other clients, right?
Yes. I have a few clients who, as adults later on in life, are professional students and trying to figure out, now that they're in their 60s and 70s, what do they want to do with life?
Yeah, well, that's it. A lot of people think, a senior citizen, well, that's the end of it, But being positive in your neighborhood, you can continue to that as a senior citizen. Some people retire and then they go and sit and cut the grass and watch television, and they go to a home or something like that.
Yes.
Where they really can't express themselves.
Well, it's way better to live life and be a participant than to be on the sidelines.
You're right.
And I will tell you that I've met some amazing individuals of all ages who are so active and so involved, giving back to their communities in a variety of ways.
And so many of them have so much to offer. Their background is just outstanding.
It is, and the stories and the lessons that they
Yeah.
share are amazing.
Yeah.
Um, it it's really exciting and empowering to sit and listen to some of the older generation
Yes.
talk about their
Right.
lives
Like
and
we were
share.
doing before
Yes.
what we were talking about, the fuses and the telephones
Yes.
and things, from the past generation. Really the young people, they can't really relate to that. You tell
Right.
you tell them about the phone on every phone
party
booth,
lines.
party line. I
Yes.
had forgotten about the party line myself.
Yes, it's a whole new world, and
Yeah. Now you got the cell phone, but really what people have not made adjustment to is the uh, ability for those things to be as reliable as the old ones. They have
It's
so
true.
many interruptions now. Just like in situations, the surge, you get a surge in your cell phone, you go under a bridge or something like the cell phone, and if you're sending a text or something, and then it leaves a space, and that changes the gist of
Yes.
the. How many times that it happened? Then you got to go back and do it again.
That's true. Murphy is alive and well in technology.
Yeah, right.
And we're so connected in today's environment, work as well as home, that I think, at least with some of the people that I've worked with and some of the clients, part of that growth that they need is to disconnect. Put the cell phone away, put the computer away, and actually remember and relearn how to connect with other people, whether it's their coworkers, their colleagues, their family, their kids. Really remember that connecting through a device isn't truly connecting. It's a form of communication to help you,
Right.
but connecting with someone in person and through a relationship and interactions is very different. And part of the services I offer are trying to teach that skill and help individuals make those connections.
Well, how do you do that with introvert?
That is a really good question. Believe it or not, I am an introvert.
Yeah. Well, that should be easy.
Yes. A lot of times it's not about changing how a person is. It's about realizing what their strengths are and helping them discover those strengths and utilize them. So sometimes with an introvert, they freeze up depending on the situation. And they can use that to their advantage to take extra time to think through what they're going to say, listen, come up with another solution, whatever the case may be. But depending on the situation and how they've chosen to use that, they may give themselves the negative self-talk.
Right. Right.
And we want to help them stop that, because your thoughts come through in your actions. So if you learn your strengths as an introvert and you actively realize them and think about them in a positive way, that helps you use them that way as you're going through situations.
Yeah, because positive thinking, a lot of people may take it for granted, but it's very important, because the problems that you ensue, and you don't have time to, like go to the library and sort of find out how reaction to that. You have to be able to spontaneously react to that, and especially in the business world, because maybe it's a decision you have to make, and the decision is based on the information that you have. If you don't have it, you don't have the important information, then you can't make the right decision.
Very true. Very, very true. And the other aspect of that is, if you're working with extroverts, they may have a hard time working with you because they don't know how to communicate to you. They don't understand how you work better with them. So there's that connection and that building of relationships that has to go on as well to help improve that.
What do you find most of your individuals, that male or females, and which one is more difficult? How you like that
That's
one?
a really good question. I would say that there's an equal group of male and female introverts. But it truly depends on the area they're working with as to whether they're more difficult or not. Engineers, architects, IT type people tend to be more focused and have more tunnel vision. And it takes a severely negative or catastrophic event for them to kind of break out of their shell and realize that they need to be more self-aware. Not always, but for the most part. And there are other people who make a conscious decision as they're going through different scenarios that, you know what, I don't like being this way. I want to change. I don't know how, but I need to make a change. I need to grow. And they just dive headfirst into discovering themselves and figuring out how to develop so that they don't have those awkward moments or those sessions where they freeze up in the middle of a presentation.
Well, how do you get information from an individual? I know you don't go through the homework. In other words, if something is needed, individual don't believe in themselves. You know, it's difficult for them to envision them being in a position, being CEO of a company.
That's the hard part. If they don't believe that there is a possibility,
Right.
then I can't help them. They have to
Well,
start with that
how do you
one.
tell them that? That's the key.
If someone comes to me for coaching services or for help, that means that they believe and they're ready to grow. Now, I'm not going to randomly walk up to someone in the street and go, you know what, I just saw what you did. You need to change your ways. That's not going to work. It doesn't work that way.
But they have to want to do it, be interested enough. And I would say that the point is the fact that they're there in the class is positive.
It's very positive because it shows that, one, they're self-aware.
Yeah.
And two, that they know that they themselves have more possibilities. Whatever that is for them, it could be something as simple as, you know what, when I get in a disagreement, I just want to be able to say the word no. I don't have to argue, but I just want to speak up for myself and say that simple thing. And that could be a huge accomplishment for someone. Whereas for others, it could be something as big as, I want to speak to an auditorium and not freeze up.
Well, that's what I was getting ready to say, is that as far as this Maxwell group that is well known, to give the person confidence enough to get their point over to a client.
They do. The training and the support that comes with being a John Maxwell team member is phenomenal. It is direct mentorship with John Maxwell himself.
Yeah.
He has a phenomenal team of staff that help support us. Constant phone calls and materials, and it's a wealth of information and such a caring support network that you can't help but be successful.
And how do you monitor people without offending them?
Well, I think that's the key. I don't monitor them.
There's no monitoring. It's all volunteer.
It's all voluntary. If you decide you want to coach, then you're ready to be accountable for your own actions, and you are ready to take responsibility for your own choices and your own decisions. I'm just here to help you, guide you down that path, and help you find that extra little push and motivation to keep you going in the direction that you want to go.
Well, and I would say encourage.
Yes, encouragement is a huge part of
it. And if you feel there's something professional that needs more evaluation, you make that known to them.
Yes.
The things that they have to do to reach that goal.
That's very true. I'm the honest broker in
Yeah.
the relationship. I'm not here to sugarcoat things. I'm here to be brutally honest with you sometimes because that's what you
You know,
need.
because some people are sensitive, you know,
Yes.
and it varies from person to person. And as the CEO, those are things, the talent that you really have to develop so that you realize that the person needs certain things, but you got to be
Yes.
careful in present it, how you present it. You know what I mean?
That's very true. You have to walk that fine
Yeah.
line of knowing what that person needs and ensuring that you communicate in that way with them.
Well, what about follow-up on after an individual get involved with your program and everything? Do you have a follow-up program, you know, like illustration to other students, you know, well, so-and-so, she came in now, CEO of this company or that company, and she, you know, give you some ideas of positive things that you have to do, what they did to be successful.
Yes, there are recommendations and success stories from
Yeah.
other students and,
Well, that's what I
and
mean.
clientele.
Right. And you don't enact any of those things. You don't have a little skit.
No. I'm not big on skits.
You're not big on, you say you're not big on skits. Okay.
No, I am a terrible actress. That we wouldn't want that. I do follow up with my clients. An initial coaching session itself is usually 3 to 6 months. That
Is
way,
that done in a group or individually?
I have both types of sessions.
Yeah.
So I do group coaching and
Right.
I also do individual coaching.
Which do you find is more effective?
I would say that neither one is more effective than the other.
Depends on
It
the
depends on
person.
the people.
Yeah.
Some people respond better in a group setting because
Yeah.
they feel safer
Right.
and they listen to what other people offer up as ideas and successes,
Right.
and that helps them grow more.
And sometimes they have the same question as another
Yes.
person does, and that's very helpful. Then they can move on to something else, you know.
Exactly. And others prefer a individual coaching client relationship because they may be CEOs, they may be executives,
right,
and
right.
they don't want to have those conversations in a group because you never know who's going to be in that group. And for them, one-on-one is better and more effective. And those individuals tend to hold themselves more accountable to their successes and have those huge aha moments faster.
Well, do you go through preparation for interviews?
I do.
Okay, give us an example of that.
Um,
Because a lot of people, they have the knowledge, but they don't know how to present it in a positive manner.
That's very true. I have a base belief that not every client is for me.
Right.
So just as you choose me as your coach, I have the ability to choose you as a client. So as part of that, there is a 30 to 45-minute intake interview session where we go through some basic questions.
That way you get to know each other.
Exactly. And then at the end of that, we each process through it, think about it, and then I will get back with them a day later and go, now that you've thought about it, we've gone through that intake interview. If I decide that, I think we're a fit, I'll call them back and say, okay, I agree. I think we're a good fit. What is your opinion? Based on our intake session, do you feel that I am the coach for you?
Okay, now, you mentioned intake sessions. How many of those you have? Or that depends on the person?
It depends on the client. Some weeks it may be 2 or 3. Sometimes it may be 15 or 20. It just depends. It's all based on clientele.
The clientele, basically, and the progress that they are making. is one you have to be elementary on, then another one is that you have to actually move ahead in your system.
Yes.
Because they're past that initial stage.
Yes. So the intake interview will happen. We decide if we're a fit, and then moving forward, we'll set expectations and how many times we're going to meet, when we're going to meet,
Oh, you
whether
just,
whether
oh,
it's physical.
so actually you fit into the schedule.
Yes.
That's important
Yes, it is.
because people have different schedules and that they have to meet. Babysitting or different household things that has to be done.
Exactly.
So the flexibility is one of the keys to
Yes.
the person, and being available, and because they have a schedule and they can select the timing of the.
Yes.
See, don't you think that's important?
That's very important. Coaching is at least in my business, how I've chosen to approach it, is that coaching is a positive activity for accountability and progress and development, which means that here's the time frame hours. Everything is negotiated and discussed. It's not me directing and telling the client. It's the client making those decisions and deciding that they want to be accountable.
Good. Tell us about this program that the other county has that you think that possibly we could have that in. I think you were telling me about a program in Montgomery County. Tell us a little bit about that.
So the program is led by the SELP group. And
What do you call it, self-help?
Off the top of my head, I can't remember what the acronym stands for. My apologies for that. But it is a bunch of Montgomery County businessmen, women, and some college and school leadership who got together and decided that if their students were going to be developed in leaders in business and in the community, they needed to take an active role in that. So students apply, and there's competition, and they get into this program, and it is multiple activities to develop their leadership skills and abilities throughout the year.
For a whole year.
For a whole year. That's my understanding. And for my involvement in it, it was just that one session to support.
One session, and usually if anyone is interested, the contact point would be the county or your organization.
The contact point for that would be Montgomery County. There is a website for the SELP program, SELP. You can do a search on that. It's headquartered in Rockville, Maryland. I know the session I went to, there were 150 students.
150?
Amazing kids. I mean, just phenomenal. Very positive, energized.
And the ranges that you go for is entrepreneurs that are beginning or in an expansion stage, or just what level?
The kids that were in that group, if I remember correctly, were in the 10th and 11th grade.
Okay. 10th and 11th grade, that's great.
And it was a very diverse group.
Do they get credit in school for that?
My understanding is that they do.
They get credit. I see, great.
A fellow coach of mine that I work with, Mr. Ed Reed, is very involved in that program.
Yeah. That's something that the Prince George County Board of Education should be thinking in terms of, because it introduced youngsters to the phase for the future, and that's business. Like I said earlier, I think that those are the things that we have to sort of switch. As so many kids out here with degrees and don't have jobs, and a program like yours would open the door as far as the youngsters making a decision on the career they want to get in, and they can steer themselves through the various courses, you know, that would prepare 'em to qualify for that. Because I always say, always shoot for the CEO position.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We find out if a program, wherever you you know, decide to work, whatever field, find out what kind of program they have for advancement. You know, because you don't
Yes.
want to be working in the same job for 90 years, you know, doing it. It has to have some future involved.
No, it does, absolutely. And in line with that, there are some great opportunities in the government for kids nowadays too, with internships where they.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Do you get involved in internships for youngsters, especially at the high school, because they're in a situation where they got to make a decision on whether to go to college or not, you know, because just having you know, high school is not enough now, you know.
No, it's
But
not.
you still have to, and you have to start early enough to prepare for that. Your organization does that, right?
We do sessions on career development,
Right.
blueprint for success, finding out what you want to do in life and how to get there for all ages, not just high school students.
Right.
But we also do sessions in career development and possibilities for high school students and college students,
Yeah,
to help
beautiful.
them determine what type of careers they are looking for, what's out there. We pull up some of the current information on organizations that pay off student loans if you work for them, additional benefits that you should think
also
about.
the qualification that they need. A lot of youngsters don't understand that certain you got to prepare yourself. Once again, I want to thank you, Tina, for being here. And what's that, Infinity Group?
InfiniusGroup.com.
Okay, then. And you want to bring those programs, some of them over here to Prince George County?
I would
because
love
that
to.
sounds good. Okay? All right, this has been Ed Brown, and we've had Tina here, and we've talking about, you know, getting some of those jobs, you know. And 9 to 5 is all right, you know, but 9 to 5 career, the best thing for you to do, get in business for yourself. I tell you, that dollar works harder and longer. You don't have to, you don't have to take leave and that type of thing. You know what I mean? This has been Ed Brown. See you next time.